So, I know this is not where I normally shoot. I'm at my little brother's apartment in his roommate's bedroom, but we're not skipping any days. So, I want to talk about something that is huge for me, and that's inspiration and how important it is as a musician, as an artist, as somebody who is in an art form of any kind. And people get this idea when they move to LA or New York, where I'm at right now, or wherever it is, that when you get to somewhere like that, your job is to keep your head down and grind 100% of the time. And while I do think that is part of the equation and that is important, that is not the whole thing. And what I've seen with a lot of people moving out here, moving out to Los Angeles, is all of these pieces of inspiration, all these stories that they've gained over the years, come into use and come into play when they move there. And they've got a few months or a year where they're able to really grind and really use this information to create new art and grow. And then you start seeing them fizzle out, and these stories have been used and used and used, and they keep their head down and they work. And it comes to a point where they no longer have anything to write about. They don't have this outside inspiration. They don't have these human to human interactions that during the day might feel like the mundane, but become part of the story, become part of this this collective of information that you pull from. And I think the importance of balance in this world, and having the balance of working hard, having the balance of keeping your nose down and grinding and learning and continuing your growth is so important. But so is the other side of it, which is going out and meeting people, going out and having crazy nights and stories to write about and human experiences that become your next piece of art. And I think that is such a massive part of this situation, is where you have to be able to cultivate situations that allow growth outside of just the learning process, outside of just the creation process. There's so many steps, and people forget that one of the steps is having something to write about. I'm currently in New York. I'm on my way to Houston tonight, and then from Houston to Japan, and then Japan to Vietnam. And I'm going to spend 2 weeks in Vietnam to backpack with my little brother. And, when he asked me to do this, I had to sit down and really think about it and say, hey, I'm onto something here. I feel like I'm really starting to find my flow with this podcast and grow as a host and as a creator and find my brand. And do I really want to take 2 weeks off? And I also then had to sit down and kind of reorient myself and realize that just because you're leaving your current situation for a minute doesn't mean you're taking time off. This is part of the process. Me traveling and having shitty experiences happen and being able to shrug it off. Going to new places with new cultures that maybe I don't know much about, with a language I don't know, and food that I've never had, and have all these experiences will only help me grow as a podcaster, as a producer. I think that I'm going to have the opportunity to get some life experience that'll give me a new perspective and maybe help me grow as a human being, as a podcaster, as a musician, and allow new stories for me to tell. I feel so strongly about that. And another part of this is, people, they keep their head down and they grind, and yes, that's important, but the issue with keeping your head down all the time is the situations and people that'll pass you while your head's down could be the situations and people that will become part of your success. Some of these people will become the people that allow you to grow in this industry and meet new people and find whatever is next for you. And I think that's so big because whether it's what you're comfortable with or not, I think that the idea of being open and looking for new opportunities is so big and so powerful. And I think that especially in Los Angeles, I can't speak for as anywhere else just because I haven't been there, but especially in Los Angeles, there's this idea where you have to be the best, and to be the best, you have to be working 100% of the time. And there's some sentiment to that, but I don't think that is the end all be all. I think you really do need to have your head up also and be a good people person and learn how to read a room and learn how to make friends and learn how to grow in situations where people, normally lack the ability to. And this is me trying to do that. This is me going somewhere that, not that I'm not comfortable with, but I don't know what I'm getting myself into. But I understand that all of these situations, good or bad, will become what is my next story. And the people I meet while keeping my head up will become my new friends, and people that I will have in my life for a very, very long time. And I've said this a bunch, and I'll say it again. This past year, I've met 85-90% of the people that I love the most in my life. As far as this new second part of my life, you're growing up and you're friends with people based on your geography, and that's important, and that's where you can learn to handle disagreements and situations where you do not get along with everybody, and learn how to be a balanced human being. But then your job, once you leave the house and you leave this area that you grew up in, is your job is to take these skills and go find what is yours. You grow up with all these inspirations on music or art in general based on your family, and that's important. And some of my favorite music of all time I found because my dad would play it in the car. But then also I have songs that are so important to me because there was something that I found. And I think all this kind of wraps together, and like you have to use your prior knowledge in order to gain your knowledge in the future. And all I can say is I really hope that while you guys are learning and you're grinding and you're working hard, you're also smiling and meeting people and finding these new situations that will become your forever stories, that will become your next song, your next painting, your next piece of artwork, your next album. So with that, please just keep your head up when you need to, put your head down and work when you need to. Find that balance. There's nobody's balance that works for you. You have to find your own, and I promise it's there. Thank you guys for listening. My next solo will be the following Friday, and it'll be in Vietnam. I can't wait to tell you guys how it's going, and to also do a recap on my new life experience once I get back and I'm back in Los Angeles. But until then, I'll be on a ridiculous amount of flights thinking about how I can grow and, become a better host and a better producer and a better person. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. And we will be back in the studio soon. Goodbye.